church leader for the Eden area, and it's good to be back. I've had a few weeks off from my baking videos. I've still been working, but we were having a real tough time as a family. We had a lot going on, and I just didn't feel like it. I've really struggled to find my joy recently. We had a bereavement in the family which has affected us greatly, and then another relative was really poorly in hospital, and so now I'm just starting to feel a bit more like my old self. So I thought I needed to get back to it. People have been asking me, when are you going to do another one? But I kept saying, oh yes, I will, but it hasn't felt right. So today, new day, this morning, up bright and early, I bathed the dog, which wasn't particularly enjoyable for anybody involved in that process, I tell you. And Frank's gone out and left me in peace, so I've got a bit of time, and I thought I would make something that somebody suggested a few weeks ago, which was choux pastry. And I put it off because I looked at the recipe. It's quite straightforward, and it isn't overly ambitious in that I try to make things that most people will have in their cupboards, because I don't want people having to go out and buy a lot of expensive herbs and spices and ingredients that the chances are will just sit in your cupboard and you'll never use again. So I've tried to pick things that just require the ingredients that most people have, and this is one of them. So if you're going to make it with me, I'm going to make double, because I just feel that I want to bless some of the people who've just been so kind to me and my family over the last few weeks. You know, during your tough time, you really do find out who your friends and those close to you, you know, those that matter the most. You just want to give them something back. So I figured, oh well, I might as well make something out of the choux pastry, and I'm going to have a go at choux buns. Now I've made it before, but all you're going to need is 2 ounces or 50 grams of butter or margarine, 1/4 of a pint of water, 4 ounces of plain flour, and 3 eggs. Right, so there's like what, four ingredients, and it's supposed to turn it into this flipping awesome looking thing. However, I'm not convinced, because I've read the instructions, and to me, so the instructions are you put your fat and your water and you melt it over a gentle heat, and then you boil it, and then you remove your liquid from the heat and you stir in your flour, then you return to the heat, stir in until it makes a ball in the middle of your pan, and then you get it out of your pan, put it in a dish and let it go cold, and then you beat in your eggs a little bit at a time into your floury mixture, right? Anyway, and then to make my chocolate eclairs or my coffee buns, what I then do is once it's gone into a big bowl, you put it in a piping bag, you squeeze it out onto your tray, and you stick it in the oven on 220 for 20 minutes, and then something magical should come out. We shall see. Anyway, I think what I will have to do, because I'm going to be spending a bit of time with my back to you, beating my mixture on the oven, on the hob, I think I'll do it in bits and I'll pause it, or else we're going to be on all day. Okay, so I'll start by doing my ingredients. So I need 1/4 of a pint of water, and then into that goes, well, I'm going to make doubles, like I said, 4 ounces of butter, 4 ounces of butter, and then you melt that on the pan. So I'm just on the ring, so I'm just going to stick it on full whack, and while that's doing, I'll measure out my flour. So I'm going to need 8 ounces of flour, just 4 ounces if you're just doing the regular one. I don't know how many it makes either, you see. Sometimes Biro, it makes like 500 items, and sometimes it only makes 2, which is never enough. So get your flour ready, and also you want 3 eggs beaten. So beat your eggs in a dish. Just get a dish. So crack your eggs. And give them a good whiz up. I think the person who actually recommended that I made this was kind of trying to trip me up. So you may well succeed, because like I said, I've never done them before. I'll probably never do them again, because I don't like things where you have to clat on for ages. I just like to chuck my ingredients in the mixer. I've only got 5 eggs. Hang on a minute. Oh, here's one more egg. Oh. Yeah, I just like to chuck it all in the mixer, whiz it all up, chuck it in the oven, and hope for the best. I can't be doing with this thing where you have to do everything in several processes. So whisk your eggs up so you're all ready for your next stage. There might be variations to this recipe. I'm using the B-Row book, but probably if you Google choux pastry, it'll come up with something. You can make them into all sorts of things. You can make them into savoury things, so you can make it and then cook it and then stick it on the top of like a casserole thing. Or you could make it into profiteroles if you make little balls, and then you cut the hole in them all, fill them full of cream, and then cover them in chocolate. See, it's all that. It's just faffing, isn't it? But anyway, we'll see how we get on. Right, eggs are done. So I'm going to pause it now while I boil my water, and then when it's boiling and my butter is melted, I'm going to put my flour in, and then I'm going to mix it into a paste. So I'll come back to you when I've done that, or else you're just going to be stood watching my back for 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, so my liquid all melted, and I just literally tipped my flour in, and it's gone into a great big ball like that. Can you see? Massive, great big stiff ball. And I've just beaten it for about maybe a minute or so, just to make sure all the flour's not gone lumpy or bitty. And then it says in the recipe that you then transfer it to a large bowl and cool it. So I'm going to stick it back in my flour bowl, which is here, and then just leave it for 10 minutes while I'm beating, and then I'm going to beat in the eggs. So I'll be back in a bit. There we go. Part 1 over and done with. Right, back again. Got my eggs. I've put it in the fridge for a minute or two just to cool it down, so it's not really cold. I don't know, it just says cool, it doesn't say cold. So there's still a little bit of heating, but I imagine once I've beaten my eggs into this, I have to pipe it, so I think it's probably better if it's a little bit warm myself, or else it's never going to come out the piping bag. We shall see. So anyhow, a little bit at a time it says. That was not a little bit. Oh, flipping heck. There's a reason why these things are like delicacies, isn't there really? Because it's honestly such a faff to flipping make it. This seems like an awful lot of egg. What does it say? Thoroughly beat in the eggs into the cool mixture, a little at a time, with a wooden spoon or electric whisk. Oh. Well, it's not going in, it's just like, looks like pasta and sauce. Oh. You know what, let's just whiz it all in and hope for the best. And if it's going to be a nightmare, then I'll maybe whisk it with the electric whisk. But it's nice to do things by hand, isn't it? Look at it, you see? It's not supposed to be like that. The person who recommended I make these, not even funny, bro. Don't even know who you are now. Make yourself known. It's just way too eggy to be anything other than. If any of my friends out there happen to be a pastry chef, then now would be the time to text me and say, mate, this is what you need to do. Because I actually think that this could be my first online failure. But you know, I talked about failure in one of my other videos and how we should embrace failure. Got my stats meeting at 1 o'clock talking about failure. Yeah, have to report on all of my clubs and groups, which are virtually non-existent at the moment because of COVID. But you know, every cloud has a silver lining, and the light is coming at the end of the tunnel, Either that or it's a great big train set to mow me down. Anyway, this is just like a big eggy mess, and there's no way that I'm going to be able to pipe this. I don't know. Look at it, it's gross. Might just go out for hens yet. It is a bit thicker. It's nowhere near piping bag thick. And it's lumpy. You know what, I'm going to put it in the electric whisker. Just bear with one moment. Right then, my good friend Kenwood Chef has sorted that out good and proper. So yeah, never mind beating it in. Somebody should make an edit in that B-roll book, because that's like never going to work. So it's quite thick now, which is how I guess you want it if you're going to pipe it out. And it also says that it needs to be beaten for quite a while, because that's why it rises, because you've got the air and the eggs in your mix. Probably too stiff now that I can't beat it, but hey ho, be reet. Right, so now, oh man, there's egg from one end of my house to the other now. Now you get it back into a bit of a bowl like that, and into one of these lads. If you haven't got one of these I recommend you do. I always had a cloth piping bag, but it's disgusting. It's not hygienic at all because you can't get it clean. So these are like the best thing ever. You just buy a packet of these, they're £1 for like 50 of them, and you put your mix in. When you finish doing your piping, you just chuck it away, or wash it out and then recycle it, either way. But yeah, you don't have to mess on putting them in the washer and boiling them and stuff. So get it all in your piping bag. I guess if you haven't got any of these, you could maybe use like a freezer bag and cut the corner out or something. But it's because they're triangular that it makes them much easier to handle. Oh, it's made a lot. I've only been eating profiteroles for a month. So this is my last of my suggestions. I think there's nothing else left for me to make that you suggested. So if anybody wants me to make anything, then let me know. Nothing tricky. I feel like I'm one of the bakers on what's that stuff show? Bake Off or whatever. Do my flipping showstopper today. Not usually my sort of thing. Right, get it all in there like that. And then you scrunch the top up and squeeze it all down to the bottom, like so, and then twizzle it round so it doesn't go back up your spout, and then onto a greased baking tray. You can make whatever shapes you want. So I'm going to make some like fat sausages, which I hope will transpire into eclairs. I don't know how long they have to be. It doesn't say, just have a guess. Personalised or customised, you could say. So I'm going to do some of these. I'll show you one or two, and then I'll pause you while I do my other ones, or else we're going to be here all day. You see? Sausages. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. Right then. Those ones are going to be my choux buns. So they look like dog turds, basically. No other word to put it, but yeah. You don't want them round, or they're just going to go like flat and then up. So you've got to have a bit of like, it says, a bit of texture to make them. And then when you ice them and stuff, it doesn't all just sit on the top. It looks like it's run down. And then my eclairs, like little sausages. So they now go in the oven for about 20 minutes on a really hot oven. And then we'll see what they come out like. Don't be, you know, cancelling your plans to watch this, I'm telling you. We shall see. Right, I'm back. They're done. I've got one lot out here. Look at them lads. Who'd have thought it? Look alright, don't they? Quite impressed. So that's my choux buns. There's another load come out. They're a bit like Yorkshire puddings, but I think they're, you know, for a first attempt, they look alright, don't they? That was just a little leftover one. And they're not stuck on, the butter's done its job. And my little, I think if anything, they probably should have been a bit longer. My sausages weren't quite long enough, I don't think. They're little tiny. Let me show you. Probably not big enough then. So now you leave them till they go cold, and then you fill them with cream and then top them with whatever you want. So I'm going to do some that are coffee, which is just instant coffee with a bit of water in, so it makes your granules all dissolve, and then you put some icing sugar in and make it like a runny icing. I'm going to do some coffee ones, and I'm going to do some white chocolate ones for Scarlett because she loves white chocolate and raspberry. And so I bought some of these ages ago. These are just like freeze-dried raspberries in a packet, and I've not had any purpose for them. So she loves white chocolate and raspberry anything. So I think I'll melt some chocolate, put some of these in, and put them on some of them for her. So I'll not bore you with, you know, all of that business. I'll just show you my finished efforts if I remember before the girls get home and they get eaten. And there we go. So yeah, choux buns done. So let me know what you want me to do next time. I'm open to any ideas. It's been a bit of a challenge today, if I'm honest. I've used about 587 pots and pans and things. Quite labour intensive, and I'm not finished yet. I've got them all to decorate and fill and things. But it's been quite fun to do something new, getting me out of my comfort zone and getting back to normal. And like I said, I just want to thank everybody for their support over the last few weeks. We've had a tough time, but we're coming out the other side now, and hopefully we'll be back to full form very, very shortly. If you'd like to send any ideas in, just send me a PM if that's okay. And yeah, look forward to hearing from you as always. See you soon. Okay, I'm done. It's only taken me like nearly 2 hours to make these from start to finish, and I've just washed up while my chocolate's been setting. But they're my raspberry and white chocolate ones for Scarlett, filled with cream, and these are my coffee ones, which I'll keep a couple, and I'm going to give them away. And I was thinking about what message I had today, and I don't really have one other than as Christians, a lot of the time we spend looking after those who really sometimes don't deserve it, you know, and just on occasion it's just nice to just bless those who bless you, if you get what I mean. It says in the Bible about casting your pearls before swine, and sometimes it does feel like that. It's hard work serving people who often throw it back in your face, who don't deserve it, who are really unpleasant, unkind to you. But we've got to keep on doing that. But just on occasion, you know, there are those people who just make your life better. So it could be your family, it could be your friends. I'm always saying, you know, random acts of kindness are wonderful, but sometimes the people that really, really have your back get left out. They might be fellow Christians who spend their life in service too. And I've been really conscious about who has been there for me in the last few weeks, and when I really needed somebody, those that have stood up and said, yeah, you know, let me help you, what can we do? So I think today I'm going to give some of those people one of my coffee buns and just say I love you, thank you for looking after me, and I'm sure that normal service will resume shortly, and I'll be back to doing all the things that I was. But I think self-care is so important, and if you're not feeling it at the moment, feeling a bit flat, or you're running on empty, then please look, you know, just take some time, look after yourself, put down whatever it is that's distracting you. My phone is going now, so I'm going to have to go, and I'll see you soon. Thanks now, bye.